Hi, my name is Chris Warner, and today I'm presenting a tutorial on how to photograph your two-dimensional works of art, specifically graphite drawings on white paper. What we're going to see are two individual setups. First, shooting with a digital SLR camera, tripod, and two matched Tota hot lights with 500-watt tungsten filaments. And second, we'll use a lower tech approach that one might improvise at home using point-and-shoot camera and a couple of utility clamp lights. There are two parts to the equation. The first part is in the lens itself. And what the lens has is something called an aperture. You'll see that it's its widest opening, 3.5 in the case of this particular lens. And now I'm scrolling and the numbers are getting higher, 5.6, 8, 11, 16, f22, and f32. Each of those clicks represents a reduction of the amount of light going through by half. The larger the number, the less light is coming through the lens. Now the second part of the equation has to do with something called the shutter, and it's the speed of the shutter that is also controlled. And I'll set it down to real slow so you can see it work. 1 second, okay. Let's do a half second. This is 1/8 of a second. It's practically imperceptible, it's going so quick. But these are very precise in terms of how much light is being allowed onto the surface of our sensor, both with the aperture of the lens and the shutter speed in the body of the camera itself. Choose a relatively dark area for your work so you can control the lighting. Mount your work horizontally on a vertical surface, such as a clean white wall. Use rolled masking tape if you want the edges of your paper to show. Otherwise, push pins can be used and framed out of the picture. We're going to be using two light sources of equal wattage, and we will avoid any other mixed light sources that may be present. The height at which you hang the work must match up with the two lights and the camera on its tripod. Mount the camera on the tripod using the threaded mount on the bottom of your camera body. Adjust its height by placing it very close to your artwork so that they match perfectly. Check your center heights with a tape measure. If you have a variable length lens, it should be adjusted somewhere between 50 millimeters and 80 millimeters in length. Do not compose your shot with a wide-angle lens length less than 50 millimeters. Pull back now so that the artwork fits fully in the frame. Try to maximize the image size without cropping. Notice that we pulled back on a line perpendicular with the drawing so that we are facing it directly and not viewing it from any sort of angle. The goal in composing your shot is to have perfectly vertical sides and perfectly horizontal top and bottom edges. There should be no sense that your drawing is anything except absolutely square at the corners. Now position two lights of equal wattage to the left and right of your camera tripod position so that they are illuminating the piece at 45-degree angles, and each from exactly the same distance. It's important to achieve even lighting without hot spots or fade of any kind. What we're going to do now is use the gray card, which is can be purchased at any camera shop, but in addition to the gray card, you could just simply use a piece of gray material like my shirt, or faded blue jeans work pretty well, or even the back of your hand often will be just about that same middle value, and that's what we're what we're interested in. What we don't want the camera to do is to shoot based on all of the white bouncing off of this paper, because it's going to underexpose our shot. So the easiest way to do this is to take your camera close on its tripod and then hold the card so there's no shadow cast on it. You don't want your hand on it or anything like that. Look through your viewfinder, make sure it's filling it, and then press the viewfinder halfway down, and it will give you a reading. And it'll give you a shutter speed and an aperture opening that it's automatically decided is the best exposure for this gray card. We'll remember that setting and pull back to our position, turn the camera to manual, and set it f-stop and shutter speed, just what it was telling us to do when we were looking at the gray card only. Some cameras have an AE lock function that lets you lock exposure settings by pressing a button so that you can take the camera back to its shooting position and make an exposure. A second approach to getting a good, bright, well-saturated exposure in this situation is to use your camera's exposure compensation function. To lighten a picture, you increase the exposure in small steps. It's easy because you can preview your changes on the monitor and reshoot until you find just the right amount of exposure compensation. We could capture all of those exposures, download them, put them up on your screen, and you can work with the one that you feel is the best exposure. Here's our economy setup. Got 2 chairs, 2 clamp lights. This clamp light, this is a soft 100-watt common, bulb. This, on the other hand, is a 60, so they're not matched. Remember what you'd ideally like to have is matched light sources, but let's just say you can't. And I'll just say this, sometimes bulbs of the same wattage don't give out the same amount of light. So how do we check for evenness? One easy way to do it is just take a pencil, come up close, and what we're doing is we're judging, we're running both cast shadows on either side of the pencil to be the same value. And right now it looks like the one on the left is a little dark, which means this one is brighter. And so to make it less bright, we'll push it away. So this is good. You're getting a real life adjustment here. It takes some time. Got to be patient. My experience with this is patience is everything. And what I want to do is find out where the middle of my pictures is 18 inches wide. 9 inches is the middle, right there. So I'm going to measure from the floor. I'm getting 38 inches. I want my camera now to be 38 inches tall, which means I'm a little low here. So I need one more book. Let's double check again. 38. Now we're talking. Looks pretty good. Telephoto forward, not wide. You're going to get a better use of your lens if you're in the telephoto mode. What it wants me to do is tilt it forward a little bit because I'm on an up tilt. So here, let's find something. Okay, got a piece of paper. Going to make a little bit of a wedge. Too much. Remember patience. Don't get frustrated, just take your time until it's right. There we go, now we're talking. I hope this presentation helps you to create quality digital documentation of your two-dimensional works of art so that they can be uploaded to your learning portfolios and there represent your work in the very best way possible.